Welcome and thank you for taking the time to join us today for our UniPay webinar. My name is Katie Hunt and I'm the Marketing Manager at Unibank. I'll be moderating the webinar today. We want this presentation today to be as interactive as possible, so we encourage you to submit questions. To submit a question, simply click the Raise Hand button and type your question in. I'll be monitoring the submissions and will ensure that all questions are answered. If we don't get to your question during the course of the presentation, we have allowed time at the end to answer those there as well. Everyone is also entered to win a $50 Staples gift card. We'll announce the winner at the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce the presenter today. Christy Jenga is Assistant Vice President of UniPay by Unibank. She's been with Unibank for 13 years. 9 of those years she's dedicated to our successful UniPay system. An expert in the system, Christy prides herself on working with clients to achieve their goals. Now I'm pleased to turn the presentation over to Christy.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate everybody being here today and joining us for this webinar. As Katie mentioned, we want to try to make this as interactive as possible, so please don't be shy about sending along your questions throughout. I have a lot of material to cover. I want to give you a full overview of the UniPay solution. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Now, I know there were a mix of folks that registered for this webinar session. Some of you are current Unibank customers, some we might not have a relationship with just yet. So by way of introduction, just a brief overview on who we are. At our core, we are a community bank. We work here, we live here. I live right here in town. We have been in the business for over 151 years, celebrated our 150th anniversary last year in 2020. We have lots of brick and mortar branches, 13 of them to be exact, throughout the Central Mass area as well as Blackstone Valley. But with being able to do things remotely, we are able to widen our reach much further than that with our online presence. Just a little background for you on how UniPay came to be as well. Our first version of the UniPay system was actually developed back in 2004, and it was developed because of an idea, or a request I should say, from one of our municipal customers. They were looking for a way to collect payments online. They were having a lot of issues with bill pay payments coming in, not being able to match up the information on the physical check with what bill was outstanding for that particular customer. There was also a delay in the processing of that, waiting for the check to be cut and actually mailed to their location. So what we decided to do for them was create this UniPay solution. It was a way for them to streamline their collections and also enhance the cash flow for them in their offices, especially with the low staffing that they had in the time. What we quickly realized was that this solution we created for municipalities really could transfer over into different organizations as well. And that's why we're here today, because in 2014, we released the UniPay system to one of our clients, Milford Regional Hospital, and the rest is kind of history. It has allowed us to collect patient payments, to collect donations or tithings for different church organizations. We collect invoices for a variety of businesses, whether it's a person, business to consumer, or if it's business to business situations there. The system is extremely flexible, as you'll see in the rest of this presentation. And we are really excited to have you with us here today so that we can identify how it might work for you and how we can specifically customize it for your needs as well. So now that you know a little bit of background about the UniPay system, I like to start off with a poll to ask, have you UniPaid? Have you used our UniPay system before? It might have been to another business or organization. Maybe it was to pay your tax bill or school fees online. So Katie has just activated a poll for you all to fill out. If you wouldn't mind selecting your answers there, I'll give you a minute to do that.
Great. We have about 67% who have not used it, Christy, and 33% have used UniPay.
Perfect. Okay, so a good mix. So we have some UniPay newbies out there and some that have used the system. So that's perfect. We will cover everything. So during our session today, we have a lot to cover, as I mentioned. First and foremost, what I'm going to do is provide you with an overview of the UniPay system and how it affects you, what it means to you and your organization. The second topic we're going to cover is the UniPay system and what it means to your customers. Why would they want to use the system in the first place? And lastly, what we'll talk about is why UniPay. There are so many systems out there that collect payments online. What makes UniPay stand apart? And I'll also list my top 5 reasons of why I think you should choose UniPay. So with that, there are many options, as I mentioned, for collecting payments online. Most systems are similar, but there are some differences. Everybody has their own unique way of doing it. It's just about figuring out what works best for your organization and your business operations. What are you looking to achieve with your online payment solution? It works great as a 24/7 system, whether you're collecting payments business to consumer or even in a business to business scenario. The way UniPay works is that because it's available 24/7, you're opening yourself up to allow payments all of the time, whether your office is open or your doors are closed, whether it's just after office hours or you're still dealing with the effects of COVID and needing to shut down your location for a period of time. The UniPay system is able to facilitate those payments for you so that you can focus on your job at hand, focus on the work that you have to do, and let us handle the payment processing for you and get those collections in the door. So as you can imagine, technology is constantly evolving, continuously changing, and what we've been doing is updating the system throughout the course of the years we've had it operating to ensure the best security and the greatest enhancements are added to the system. So one of the things that we're able to do with the system is make it as simple or sophisticated as you need it to be. So some of our customers that we have, they just want it very basic. They want to collect the person's name and maybe the dollar amount and proceed with the payment. Others that we have want all of the bells and whistles, and we're able to do that for them as well, whether it's email and text alerts, invoicing for them, or even interfacing with their website. We're able to accomplish all of those. It's just a matter of what level you'd like to do for the UniPay system. Another really important part about UniPay is our customer service as well. So for those of you that are our current Unibank customers, I hope you'll agree, we put that above all else. We really take pride in answering all of your questions, whether we personally know them or we have to reach out to our colleagues to get you the answer. That is very important to us that we meet your needs. So that same level of customer service translates right over to the UniPay system. And what we do as well is once you're up and running, accepting those payments, we don't disappear. So we're with you for the long term. You can count on our staff of extremely knowledgeable individuals. They've all been with us for a long time and know the ins and outs of the system, and we're just an email or a phone call away.
Christy, here's a frequently asked question that we often hear from customers of UniPay. What about the people making the payments to the businesses or someone making a donation through UniPay? Is there any support offered to them?
Yes. So the same level of support that we give to the business or organization is also extended to their customers or donors. So our email address, our toll-free number, is listed on every single page of the payment center. So while they're going through the payment process, so at any time if they have any questions, they'll reach out to us. Again, that way you are able to get back to doing your job and focus on your customers while we can handle any of their payment questions for them. Any other questions, Katie, before I move on?
Great. No other questions right now.
Okay, thank you. Now, the UniPay system has two components to it. The first is the payment center, which is where your customers will go on to submit their payment to you. The second part of it is the UniPay Administration Center. This is where you'll be able to view all of the details from any payments that your customers have made. So what I'd first like to focus on, as I mentioned, is what it means to you and how UniPay will work for your organization. On the payment center side, as you can imagine, we are a financial institution, and it was vital that we ensured the safety and security of everybody utilizing our system. We are heavily regulated. We adhere to all the various requirements set forth by MEACH, NACHA, the Federal Reserve, our internal and external auditors. The list kind of goes on and on. We also follow the industry standard verification measures. We're reviewing those and testing those on a daily basis just to ensure that we are fully in compliance with that. So you might be wondering how your customers would actually get to the UniPay Payment Center. And there's really not just one way. Basically what we do is we provide you with the URL, and you can place that in any number of places. So if you want to add a button to your website for them to click on, you can do that. Add it to your social media pages. You can also email it, or perhaps you are invoicing customers, either paper or electronically. You can add the UniPay link to multiple places just to provide that ease of access to your customers. Once they click on that, and actually just to go back for one quick second, I also wanted to let you know that as part of our welcome emails that we provide to you, including this URL, we also include a marketing kit. So we'll provide to you some helpful tools to share with your customers to let them know you're now accepting online payments. We have buck slips, we have poster templates. Also, we've been sending out the individual QR codes so that you can allow for payments on the go for people as well, depending on what your organization does for collections. Now, once they click on that link or scan the QR code, they will be brought to your own personalized UniPay Payment Center. And it looks much like the screen over here on the left. We customize it for you. I would work with you personally to identify what your current process looks like for your accounts receivables, what information are you collecting, and what's most important for you to receive from us so that you're able to match that up with any invoices you have or on the back end of your process. And without getting too technical and too into the weeds, as I mentioned, it really can be as simple or as sophisticated as you'd like the UniPay solution to be for you. So I mentioned, just a simple dollar amount that we can collect. Some of our customers actually will do a file. They'll manage it with a file and pre-fill all of the information. So we have a lot of flexibility that we can do for you as far as the setup goes. Katie, any questions before I move on?
Christy, here's a frequently asked question that we oftentimes hear from customers. In addition to collecting information at the time of payment, how exactly would I know as a business that I have a payment received? Is there any type of notification or alert that happens from the system?
Yes, that's a great question. So at the end of the payment process, what happens is there's a detailed receipt that's presented on screen. It contains all of the payment information that was collected. That's also emailed immediately to the customer, and it can also be emailed to you as well. So you receiving the payment are able to see that as well.
Great. Oh, I have one more question that just came in as well. So let me pull that up. Someone is wondering if we can set up an auto. I think auto payments.
That's a great question. Yes. So we do have a couple of options there. We're able to, if there's a file behind the scenes, if they want to provide us with the details of what payments need to be made, we certainly can allow them to set up an auto pay. So their customers would register for that ability. As soon as the file is updated with their current bill and amount due, the payment would automatically come out. They would receive a reminder ahead of time that they have set up and elected for that auto pay service. And then we also have recurring payments too, which is a little bit different. That is set up more on the end user side, and they can select the frequency. So more for a donation situation where it's, maybe the same amount every time on a recurring basis.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So heading over to the administration center now. Once the payments have been made, there are a few different ways to receive it. So like we just talked about, that email notification can be received, as well as being able to view a variety of reports. So there is real-time reporting available, and you also can search by a specific date range. As you see in the example on the bottom of the screen, we can put in a custom date range as well. So that will allow them to pull perhaps from the beginning of time when they started collecting payments, or maybe they're only posting on a monthly or weekly basis. This reporting system allows them to choose the frequency that they want to generate the information and actually see who's made the payments and go ahead and process that. All reports are able to be downloaded, exported into Excel, PDF, or Word, as well as being printed out too. The other ability in the administration center is our research page. So that's over on the right-hand side here. You can see a screenshot there. That allows them to pull up by unique confirmation number. So again, that receipt that's generated at the end, it does have a unique identifier on there. So if somebody has a question on the payment information, we're able to research that and pull up the receipt. They also can search if, somebody's email address needs to be put up. They're able to do that as well. Some of our customers actually prefer, a lot of them do prefer maybe some of these canned reports and the research portal. A lot of them also will appreciate the ability to download this electronic lockbox file. So this file can be put into any format. So if your accounts receivable software has the ability for you to import the information, we can put it in that file type, and it's just a simple click of the button for you to update that. The last thing that we're able to do is to allow for the control of user access.
Christy,
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question that just came in. Someone is wondering if the UniPay system connects to Unibank's online banking system.
So that's a great question. So it actually is not connected to Unibank's online banking, and we did that on purpose. So the UniPay system is strictly just for the payment collection. We do have a variety of the reports listed. Actually, you can see in the bottom screenshot, there's that bank reconciliation report. That will allow you to, as it says, reconcile your bank statement so that you know exactly what's being paid and how you'll see that appearing in Unibank's online banking system. It also allows you to set those different user roles. So maybe the person that's handling your money, in your online banking isn't the same person that is taking in registrations for a particular event you have coming up, and they need to access to that list. That's where the UniPay system comes into play, where they're able to see the details of just the payment without being responsible for any of the deposits going into the account. So these are the just covering kind of the benefits to you as the organization making the payment. I'm going to switch over now to what your customers will be experiencing, but just double check too, Katie, did you have any other questions before I move on to that side of things?
Yes, we do have one more question here. Someone is wondering, do I have to have my accounts with UniBank in order to use the system?
Good question. So I have my short answer is that yes, we do require just one bank account to be established here at UniBank so that all of the payments can funnel into it. My longer answer is that while we certainly can understand why you might need to keep an existing relationship elsewhere, we certainly would love to earn your trust and your business eventually. We have an exceptional group of individuals working here at UniBank. A quick plug for my colleagues in our retail, all the branches, our business banking folks, and also our commercial lenders. We really have everything here at UniBank to meet your needs. So a full cash management suite of products if you need that, the traditional bank ACH product as well as check scanning services. We also have a wide range of different account types. And then on the lending side, any lending opportunity that you need, our commercial team would be able to assist with. So, just last year to highlight that capability too, with the pandemic between last year and this year so far, just under 1,000 businesses that we helped with their PPP loans to process those. So, online banking is available wherever you are. So if you'd like to visit us online, you may and manage your account that way, or you can come into one of the 13 branches and visit us that way as well. All right. So moving right along to why your customers will want to use the UniPay system. The biggest factor with allowing for payments online is the convenience. It's available 24/7. So, I have been known to make a payment at midnight when I remembered I had to do it. You're giving people the flexibility by allowing them to make a payment 24/7, that hopefully your cash flow will increase and people are more likely to make their payment because it's online and it's convenient. So we developed the system to be as user-friendly as possible. As I mentioned, it's been around for a while, so we are constantly enhancing the system and just pushing those updates out so that people can get the best experience possible. One thing I've heard from quite a few people is that they really appreciate the fact that we don't require folks to sign in to make a payment online. So it's completely optional. So while it is optional for them to sign in and register, there are, of course, added benefits if they do elect to set up a UniPay profile, and I'll talk about that in just a second. The other part that I think is really special about UniPay is that people are familiar with the system. So whether they've made the payment themselves online to a city or town within Massachusetts or even beyond, they're familiar with UniPay. In addition, even if they haven't used UniPay before, it's very user-friendly. It's very similar to any other online payment experience for them. And I think it's what a lot of people today are expecting, the ability to make a payment online. And last but not least, this responsive design for the system I think is really important. So no matter if your customers are using their cell phone to make a payment, maybe they're on the go, maybe they're sitting in their office, they're processing all of the invoices they've received and they're on their desktop computer. Each experience, the site is responsive so that they get the best user experience as they're initiating their payment on UniPay.
Christy, here's another question for you. Does that mean that there's no app for UniPay?
Correct. So there's no need for your customers to download another app, again, or even sign in if they don't want to. They are able to just access the link however you make that available. So whether it's through the QR code, it's on your website, it's directly linked from your invoices, they're able to click that URL and just proceed with the payment without having to access any app on their phone.
Great.
Any other questions before I move forward?
No other questions right now.
Okay. All right. So I want to just expand a little bit on the member profile on the UniPay system, because although it's nice and convenient to just go without adding in your username and password, there are some additional benefits that I think are very important to cover. So number one, it's free for them to register for this. And just as a clarification, we're not talking about setting up a Unibank bank account here. Although we're always open to new customers, they don't have to have a banking relationship with Unibank. They can have a relationship with any financial institution. So this system here, as they sign up for it, it's free to register. It allows them the ability to set up recurring payments, as I touched on a little bit earlier. They also have the ability to set up email and text payments notifications. So that actually would be more on your end, the customer's end, where what we'll be able to do is you can push out a notification when there is a payment available and ready to be paid. The other thing that they can do on their end, so regardless of the business's involvement in this, is that your customers can actually set their own payment reminders. Let's say they don't get paid until next week and they want a reminder to make that payment, or they're just waiting until the end of the month as they received your invoice to go ahead and submit the payment to you. They can set themselves up with a quick little reminder, and the system will prompt them to go into UniPay and to make their payment online. Perhaps one of the biggest benefits is the ability to save their payment information. So again, everything is secure in the system. We have the ability for them to add in their bank account information to save it for future use. So that way, when they proceed with the payment, it's quick and easy. Everything is pre-filled for them, so that they don't have to individually input the information as they proceed with the payment. And last but not least, this is another great feature, but the ability to view their payment history is available if they choose to register. So not only are they able to see any of the payments that they've made to your organization, but also to anybody else who has UniPay. So perhaps their tax payments are on there, maybe their donations to their local church. They're able to see all those payments. They can sort by them. It's great during tax time that they're able to just kind of do that on their own and view any donations that they might have made throughout the year.
Christy, someone in our audience is wondering what types of payments are accepted on UniPay. Do you also accept PayPal, Venmo, or Apple Pay?
Perfect. I was just getting there. So UniPay can accept ACH or electronic check, and also credit or debit cards if you choose to make that available. Any major credit cards, so Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex are all available. We have not added the ability for people to use PayPal, Venmo, or Apple Pay at this time, but I'd like to open up the poll, if we could, Katie, that next poll, to see how many people currently are accepting credit cards in their organization, and who does not at this time.
Great. So the poll should be up on everybody's screen. So either yes, you collect credit card payments, or no, you do not collect credit card payments at this time. So please take a moment and answer that poll. I'll give it like one more minute here. All right. Great. So Christy, it looks like we're 50-50 split. Half of our attendees do, and half of our attendees do not accept credit card payments.
Okay, perfect. So let me jump back over into this here. Okay, perfect. So for those of you that would like to accept credit cards and debit cards, what we would do with the processes is we'd partner you with our merchant processor, and they would handle your needs for all the transactions that would funnel through UniPay, and also if you had any in-person needs that needed to be handled as well, they could help with that. They have a meter beat mentality when it comes to their pricing and able to provide you with a detailed proposal in comparison if you already have a credit card provider in place too. The majority of our customers actually use ACH, or the electronic check method. So for them, it really replaces those physical checks coming in the mail. Their customers have a convenient way to submit it, submit the same information just virtually. And not to mention, it is the cheaper of the two options. So for those of you that collect credit cards, I'm sure you're aware of how the pricing typically works. It is a percentage based on the dollar amount paid versus the electronic check method that we have. It's just a flat 50-cent fee. So if your customer is paying you $1 or they're paying you $1,000, it's still just 50 cents. The other nice thing about accepting electronic check, if you choose to just use that on the UniPay system and forgo doing credit and debit cards, you have some flexibility there with who pays that fee. You can certainly take that on as a business expense. We would auto debit you on a monthly basis based on the activity, the number of transactions for that previous month. Or you could choose to pass it through at the time of payment. So as people are making payments to you, as people are making donations, they would see that 50-cent fee, and that would just be charged right then and there. So in that case, it's less than the cost of a stamp. And again, that convenience factor, I think people are more likely to proceed with the payment regardless of the fee attached. Okay. So actually, I'm sorry, Katie, did you keep forgetting to check with you for questions? Do you have any other questions for me that came in?
I do actually have another question that came in. Can you tell us a little more about recurring payments? Does the business need to do anything to manage those?
Sure. So recurring payments, the way that works is you as the business or organization will tell me if you'd like to accept them. If you do want to accept them, we turn that feature on. And during the payment process, as someone's making let's say a donation to you, they'll have the ability to set up a recurring payment. There's an on-screen wizard that they'll go through just one time to establish that recurring payment cycle. So they'll select the frequency that they want it to come out, the dollar amount, how, if it's the same amount, and then they'll just need to verify their email address and of course their bank account information so that we know it's a valid account for those automatic payments to come out of. On the customer side, though, on the business or the organization, there's no real legwork for you. You'll receive those payment notifications just as you would a regular payment. So you don't have to set anything up or manage recurring payments. You just allow them for your customers, and your customers will elect to register for them and to set up that schedule. Okay. Any other questions, Katie?
No other questions right now. Thanks.
All right. So I know there was a lot of information packed into this presentation, but I just wanted to, let you know again, the system's very flexible. It can be more on the simple side. It can be more on the sophisticated side with everything being automated. And it really does work for such a wide variety of organizations. I know, attendee-wise, we had a mix of people from all different types of entities. So I hope that you see that UniPay can fit for you as well, and happy to talk offline more specifically about your needs to see how we could make the UniPay system work. I always like to say to people that if you have a need to collect payments online, you want to do it securely, and you don't want to break the bank in the process, it's really worth that one-on-one conversation so that we can figure out if UniPay is the best fit for you. Now, I often get asked in conversations or in presentations like this, why UniPay, right? There are so many options out there. Why should I choose UniPay? It's a fantastic question, and one that led me to think of my top 5 reasons, trying to be as broad as possible, of why I think UniPay is unique and what sets us apart from the crowd. Number 1 for me is our local community bank presence. We are real people. You can see me right now. We are invested in the community. As I mentioned, we live here, we work here, we give back to our communities. And so I think that is very important, especially in these times, to support the local businesses. The second item here is that we provide the ongoing support, not only to you as the business or organization, but also to your customers. If they're having trouble making a payment online, or if they have a simple question, we're more than happy to triage those calls for you so that you can focus on your job and we can assist with that online payment. And that kind of leads me over to our next one, our third option, third reason here is that we customize the approach for every customer that we work with. So of course, I have many clients and, have their success stories, so I can certainly offer some recommendations of what might work best for you, but we always sit down with a one-on-one conversation to identify what information makes the most sense for your organization. What do you need back from us, and how can we make UniPay work the best that it can for you? Fourth item here is the reporting tools that I showed you briefly. So we allow for the detailed reporting, those canned reports in there, also the notifications. So whether you want to be notified real time of payment activity or you prefer to just receive one email at the end of the day if you've had any payment activity, we can do either of those options for you. And the last item here, which probably is the most important and is always on everybody's minds, right, is pricing. UniPay is very cost effective. We have just a one-time onboarding fee. It's $250, and it truly is just one time. This isn't an annual fee or anything like that. The other fees involved, as I mentioned, just that 50-cent transaction fee. Again, if you do ACH only or electronic check only, you have the option to absorb that cost or pass it through at the time of payment. And then if you'd like to offer credit cards, we can certainly put you in touch to get a good proposal of what that cost would look like with the merchant processor. So we have, I was just going to say, we have a variety of customers on the system. I think that some of them would agree with these reasons, and some might have other reasons of why. Everybody's unique, and I think that why you would choose UniPay might be a little bit different than the person next door to you. But this is a good list, overview list of why you might be interested in the UniPay solution. I wanted to leave you with just a few quotes from our current customers. These people are from a variety of different industries, yet UniPay still works for all of them. So from the daycare provider to the church to an insurance company, we really have a wide range of customers that utilize UniPay, and again, they have different benefits from one another. I also wanted to mention too, we do have on our webpage, www.unibank.com, I do have a list of testimonials there, so fuller paragraphs written testimonials and also some videos if you'd care to watch those too. All right, so I'm going to turn things back over to Katie and ask officially now if there are any questions that might have come in during our presentation today.
Yes, I have a question here from one of our attendees about using UniPay exclusively. They aren't sure if they can get rid of their current software and are wondering if they can use both UniPay and their current software.
Okay, so in those situations, I'd obviously love to hear a little bit more about what software they're using. What are the things you love about it? What are the things that you wish you could change? I have some customers that just use UniPay exclusively, and I have others that run two systems simultaneously. So, for example, some folks will elect to use UniPay just for the electronic check method, so that they can, enjoy those savings. And then they have their own merchant processor that they might just do for those one-offs where, they don't have a huge volume of credit cards, but they still want to have it as an option in case people need that. So that is available. That's a situation there. I'd say I have some folks that offer the UniPay system as the only way that people can pay. They require everybody to submit their payments on the UniPay system. And then I have others, probably more of the majority, that are a bit more flexible. It's just another option. It's just like saying that you'll, accept the check in the mail, but you'll also accept the check online too. So, certainly can help facilitate payments by providing a new option, a new convenient option for them with the UniPay system, but it does not have to be exclusive.
Great. Here's kind of a related question there. How does the electronic check work, the processing there?
Sure. So electronic check, what's required for it is they would input just their routing number for the financial institution and the bank account number. Once they put that information in, again, it's all secure behind the scenes. So that's an important point too. You don't have to see their bank account information. They don't have to see your bank account information. Everything is behind the scenes with the UniPay system. But the way that it'll work is we batch it at midnight every night. So we allow payments up until midnight. And then it gets batched up and sent off to the Federal Reserve Bank for processing. So within 2 business days, you'll see those funds deposit directly into your bank account. You'll receive that real-time notification email that the payment has been submitted on the UniPay system. And then again, with those other reporting tools, you'll be able to see exactly when the payment will post in your bank account.
Great. Here's a clarification question on an earlier question we had from one of our attendees. Is there a way to set up the auto emails from the system to say thank you to the customer for submitting their payments?
Good question. So the email that gets sent out, so at the end of the payment process, there's a confirmation receipt, and that is presented right on screen. It will list out their unique confirmation number, list out all of the payment details, and link it to you as the business or organization so that they know where it's coming from. We don't have the ability to update that, but in that email, it already does say that information. So, it's thank you for submitting your payment, here's your confirmation, and they're able to receive that on their end. So there is that instant email right as the payment is submitted on the UniPay system that they'll receive. I hope that answers the question.
And then here's another question. How is UniPay different than customers just setting up auto pay to my business from their bank?
Good question. So it's different in that, getting back to one of the comments I just said about the information being behind the scenes for both parties and protected for both parties. So in that scenario, you would have to give your bank account information to that customer for them to be able to set it up. So in this scenario, with UniPay, you don't have to do that. So the money funnels right into your bank account without you having to share your information, and vice versa. I've had, folks that use kind of the traditional ACH where they are creating a file on whatever frequency they need to, and they've collected all of their customers' bank account information so that they could input it and process that ACH file. So pros and cons, all around. Again, getting back to the point of it really comes down to what works best for your business. If you have longtime customers and they're already established, maybe you keep it for them. But maybe for your newer customers, you set up this UniPay option as a different way to collect those payments. So it can be in conjunction with what you already have for your processes.
Great. Okay, here's another question. How long does it take to get set up on UniPay?
Perfect. So it's typically for a brand new relationship, so without a bank account already established with us, I'd say about 30 days, although it can be much less. We have a great team that works together to collect all of the information and to actually do the UniPay setup. Process-wise, what I do is I would talk to the business or organization one-on-one, set up a time in person or over the phone to really identify how you'd like to use the UniPay system, what information we need to collect. And once I submit that to them, the team gets to work. That's where the real work happens. They design everything and set it up for you. We pass it through our internal auditors as well. They double check to make sure everything looks great, and then we'll go ahead and send off that welcome email to you. So I'm supposed to say 30 days, but I'll be honest, it's usually a lot less time than that with how quickly the team is able to turn everything around.
Great. So I think I'm going to activate our third poll on the screen here. Just to find out from our attendees how they enjoyed the webinar and whether it met their expectations. So you'll see that on your screen in just a moment. Please take a moment and let us know whether this webinar met your expectations. We really appreciate the feedback. Great. So I'm going to close out the poll now. Thank you for participating in that. And we hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I'm pleased to announce the name of the winner of our $50 Staples gift card. Today's winner is Phyllis. Phyllis, congratulations. We will send you the gift card electronically, so you will receive that very shortly. Congratulations. Christy's contact information is now on your screen. We encourage you to reach out to Christy directly to discuss how UniPay can help you collect online payments. We will be emailing a recording of the presentation to everyone who attended with a survey to collect your candid feedback. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.